Hello and thanks a lot for watching another episode of Let's Talk with me, your host Jermaine Sanwo-Olu. You know we always bring you influential, insightful people in the world who have a lot to share with you. And we've had some great episodes, and if you've missed those ones, make sure you visit my website, JermaineSanwo-Olu.com, for more informative and inspiring content. And also follow me on all social media platforms at Jermaine Sanwo-Olu. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, where we bring inspirational content and a lot of interviews like this. And today is no different. We have someone who has made her mark in the international community, particularly in the town of Ingersoll in Ontario, Canada. She's a councillor there. She's a business owner, entrepreneur, a consultant. She wears many hats. She's also a very, very proud Nigerian diaspora, and we are also proud about her too. I would like to introduce to you Councillor Khadijah Haliru. How are you doing, Councillor?
I'm doing good, Jermaine. Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot for joining this conversation. Let's talk. I'm really excited about the insights you're going to bring to bear, because you're very multifaceted. But for those who may not know too much about you, just give us a brief introduction about yourself and what you do.
All right. Well, my name is Khadijah Haliru. I'm a Nigerian living in Canada. I immigrated 2003. We immigrated to the US and then to Canada in 2006. So I've been here, just finding my footing. I'm an Edo Zaria girl, born and raised in the north all my life, but we lived in Lagos. And then I got married and again lived in Lagos. So I have very strong roots in Lagos. My first NYSC was at Mushin local government. I'm very proud to have dug my roots deep like that. And I owned a business. Even before I left, I actually had a little stint at Eco FM when I left. And I started with MTN when, the early days of MTN. So one of the pioneers there. So leaving Nigeria was a lot for me. I had a lot going and I had to join my husband. But the thing is, wherever we go, we take all those Lagosian passion. We take all that Nigerian, So that's kind of who I've become, really embodying who I am as a Nigerian and being proud of my roots.
You're what we call the Wasobia Nigerian, Edo, yes. Zaria, and you grew up in Lagos also and lived there too. So that's great to know. You first moved to America, then you moved to Canada. How has Canada been for you throughout the years? Canada
has been a very positive experience in the sense that, comparing it to the States, even way back then during the Bush era, it was a lot of Islamophobia. I'm a Muslim, of course, and it wasn't a very pleasant experience. Listening to our phones and opening our mail was what made us decide we either go back to Nigeria after the MBAs, but we found the opportunity in Canada looking for skilled workers as always. So we came here for opportunity, and it's been very interesting. We assimilated quite well. We've traveled across the country here too, because we approached Vancouver. I lived there for a year before we decided we needed a place where we saw more Black people. So we came to Ontario and joined the communications world again. So joined the telecom here just as I had with MTN. And worked my career till I actually launched my Nigerian Stew business 2016. So that was what made me first popular.
Nigerian Stew business.
Yeah, so I launched that Nigerian Stew in a jar in 2016, and I just realized the whole world, got excited about it. And that's what I've been pursuing, trying to keep those packaged Nigerian foods in stores and hoping to come back home one day and actually help with the export market. So I've actually been to Lagos to try to do that. It's been a rough terrain, but we're looking forward to still doing that someday. As
I will always say that Lagos is the best place to invest. I don't know your experience, but I always tell most diasporans who want to do any business in Lagos is to work with a professional and also spend time where you want to invest. Some people come for like 1 day, 2 days and try and set up something. It doesn't work, but we have a diaspora office that is there to support you and any diasporan who wants to do business in Lagos. There's always a way to enter the market, and I'll be more than glad to support you. We have the Lekki Free Trade Zone that supports businesses who would like to do a lot of export. It's a conducive environment. We've made our ease of doing business processes very, very friendly. And probably after this conversation, we can deepen the insight into how to make your business or your export business successful. But kudos to you for setting up such an innovative idea far back as 2016. I believe you still package the stews in the jar right now?
Yes, we do. And
Fantastic.
thank you for all that. Yes, we do. And we have created an African experience around it. So right now, my business evolved by using the stew. When I moved from the big cities, from Toronto to where I am now, which is considered a very quiet, more agricultural based community. I came here because I thought I would be closer to the tomatoes. I'll set up the factory and get going. They didn't really understand what I was trying to do, but then I decided I was going to use the stew to build a community around me. So I started to teach online classes how to use my stew for jollof rice, how to use it for different meals, for riro and all that. And I didn't have any Black people around me. So I started the African Supper Club. And when white people started lining up to book my seats and experience a 3-course meal, I would do suya and salad, then jollof rice and chicken, then pounded yam and egusi or efo. They would actually pay to sit down to experience it. That's when I knew I had something. So I basically launched my African Experience restaurant and food service, which is like a little retail with the food service. And that's kind of where I got into community, to the point where I was even actually asked to run for office because I was doing so much community engagement.
Wow, that's amazing. Who would have thought something as simple and, delicious as stew will take you to great heights? That's what I tell people. No matter your talent, no matter your gifts, just be faithful or diligent at it. It will open doors. The good book Bible says, the gift of a man or a woman will make room for him. And that's exactly what we have seen play out. From putting stew in a jar, you are now the councillor of the town of Ingersoll. That's amazing. Tell us how that has been for you.
It's been great. And like I said, when you are authentic, just being authentically you, sharing what you bring to the table, starting even with like just discussions on, people talk to me and they listen and they say, how long have you been here? Like almost like a condescending way of saying, they've seen the Black person maybe not very many times and they wonder, how come you speak like them? How come you understand like them? And I say, listen, we're all conquered by the Queen. We're all immigrants to this country. Just because you came here before me doesn't make you any different. So I basically have had those conversations along the way with customers, from my skincare days where I would actually make skincare and I had a shop downtown, to the stew and the restaurant idea community. Bringing Africa to the table is what I would say to them. I found myself really helping to break down the stereotype of the immigrant, breaking down the stereotype of the Nigerian, and just really breaking down the stereotype of who an African is, that we come here with skill to contribute. We're not here to beg. So when we kind of got to the point where the community would say, have you spoken to Khadijah? Oh my God, she's so, she's filled with wealth of knowledge about things. And it maybe became, the expectation was so low that whatever I brought to them became something that made their expectations so high of us now, that when they see us now, they feel like, oh my God, do you know Khadijah? It's almost like they're not looking at us at that level anymore, which is something that I'm very proud of. So being on council, I always come with that perspective. I say to them, listen, I'm seeing this differently because I'm very, very aware that you may not see it this way, but this is how I feel. And always reminding them that I'm not going to say the same things. I'm not going to see the things the same way. But with my degree in public administration from ABU, I am so proud that in some rooms, the questions I ask make me stand out. And I feel so proud, when you talk about even telecom and we talk about electricity, because we are on the boards of these companies, and local administration here will work with electricity, we work with water, we work with telecom, expansion of towers. So when we're in those rooms and I use my experience from Lagos, from MTN, and I use my experience from being in a classroom in ABU Zaria, and I use my experience from mushing local government, I can't believe how much it makes you just so whole, that when you're in conversations, you're the only one that can ask the difficult questions to the engineers or the lawyers, and they look at you and they're actually intimidated by that. So it's something that you really just have to, again, as a Nigerian, tone yourself down. Don't make anybody uncomfortable. But the thing is, in a room of experts, you are still shining, whether you like it or not. And I think that's something that we all have to be proud of.
Well, you said it excellently well. And that describes the new heterogeneous nature of the skilled professional in our world today. Back then it was, just focus on one thing, have one knowledge of one aspect of life. But now, the more you bring to bear, the more you bring to the table, strengthens, establishes, solidifies your position at that table. So it's amazing. People don't want to go through the good, the bad, the odd experiences and feel that life will be a a wonderful painting, but it is all that mix that put on the canvas of your life, it now makes it a beautiful one. And I really celebrate the beautiful mosaic that your life has become and impacting a lot of lives, not only in Lagos and in Canada, but also in the Nigerian community who see you as an inspiration. And I really celebrate you. So I really love to taste your stew in a jar. Maybe when next time in Canada,
Yes.
I'll definitely get a jar or two. And talking about coming to Canada, we know you've done a lot of businesses. You are working in the council, the councillor right now. You also have an initiative, I believe that I read somewhere you mentioned about leadership and something you want to bring people from all over the world, especially Nigerians, to come to Canada. Tell us about your project.
So in Canada, as you've mentioned, our Nigerian community have been working very hard, diligently to figure out how we unite around, a focus for Nigeria. And we have many individuals who definitely try to do the connections between Nigeria and Canada, because we do see Africa as the next hope, even for Canada. And as everyone can see, Trump has made it very clear that countries need to find new allies. And so I basically am the councillor in the region where we have the food basket. This is the region that feeds the whole of Canada. This is a region that does the most exports out of Canada. So my region is mainly constituent farmers, the farming companies, the tech companies in agriculture. We host the largest outdoor farm show in Canada. It's a display, wonderful outdoor farming equipment companies, technology companies, soil science companies, and all of that. So I'm very proud of that. In fact, in my last election, the debate that I did for the agricultural community, after the debate, they lined up to say, you know what, oh my God, congratulations, I am. Because again, it was surprising to them to see that we knew enough about agriculture, finding new markets, looking at Africa as an option. So I kind of took that opportunity in the election to take a stone to show them that we need to start looking at Africa. So what I've created now is what we call the Business of Nigeria Leadership Conference. It's happening in September this year. And what our hope is that we bring young leaders, women leaders, people who aspire to lead in the next phase. And I say that because with my experience, again, working at Mushi local government during the first Tinubu administration in Lagos State, we could see the shift between the little Marwa era, I think we had seen with NYC is what my experience was, and to the excitement that came with the extra, activities and powers and programs that we kind of got involved in at the grassroots. So I saw the power of even the local government being able to modernize the markets, being able to have us do all those things. And I feel like if we don't remind our young leaders, our youth, that is actually a wonderful place to aspire to be. Because when you rule and you live in your community and you lead in your community, you know where the problems are. You know where the solutions should be. So I think we've missed a mark where we've looked at the local government administration as just, something to be passed along. But I think this is where the youth can be useful. This is where women in the local communities can be useful to rise up and lead. And so we're inviting those kind of people over to come see how we at the local level, the whole of Ontario, we have 2 Nigerians. It's me and Ayo Owoduni, and we are lucky to be in that area where we find that the millionaires of Canada are in our constituents. So we are talking about bringing people to connect with them, to network with them, and see how we can benefit our country. So that's what we're hosting in September, and it's a really passionate project for me, right?
Aspiring leaders in Nigeria to Canada to experience international best practices and to also form alliances and open up opportunities in Canada and also in Nigeria to leaders of both nations practically.
Yes. So it's definitely something that we're going to start going beyond even just leadership training and networking for trades and investment. We're looking to see things like sister cities come up where we have exchange programs.
Very good.
There's a lot of things that we're talking, and I'm working with all the Nigerian councillors. So I invited everyone to the table, and together we're championing this. We're coordinating all the activities that bring people together. Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm always glad when I see Nigerians in the diasporans, staying connected to their roots and not just staying connected, but patriotically finding innovative ways to bring about change in our nation. The power of the diaspora is inquantifiable. It is something that if the diaspora was to unleash their creativity, there will be so much development in the motherland, and you are an example of that, bringing people together to think positively, think progressively, and for a better Nigeria. You may know I just released a song called Hope for Nigeria. And basically, I was just narrating through music because I believe most people could understand through sounds that we should really be hopeful about Nigeria. And you guys in Canada, you setting up such a great initiative is the hope of Nigeria we're talking about. Believe in Nigeria. I tell people Nigeria is not just a nation, it's people. It's not just diverse people, it's also individuals, it's a person. So if you see Nigeria personally, if you have a hope for yourself, definitely you can have a hope for our nation as a whole. I was in John Hopkins University a few days back, and I told them that, what vision do you have for Nigeria? Some of them mentioned theirs, and I asked them, okay, what vision do you have for yourself? And they were like, okay, the vision for themselves was so bright, and I said, just transpose that vision of yourself and try and make it a vision for Nigeria. So there's hope for Nigeria if everyone starts. Where can they reach out to you to connect with you regarding this program happening in September? Is there a website, social media handles? Yes. Can they reach out to you on LinkedIn or something?
Yes, there's a website, bondleadership.com right now, and we're updating that, but it's live. And just to talk about the Nigerian youth and the aspirations, I feel very empathetic to the Nigerian youth situation because I remember how we were as youth during the military regimes and how passionate we were for change, how desperate we were for change. I remember those debates in university, how trying to convince each other that democracy is what we need. And I cannot believe that youth today cannot have an outlet. Sometimes I feel like they are missing the mark. They need to focus their energy on where they can make that change. And I think it just takes someone reminding them that this is where that passion should go. So creating those opportunities, it's a democracy, it's rising up to lead. In Canada, we call it stepping up. When you step up to run for office, whether you win or not, people thank you for stepping up. Just the courage for stepping up. And I think that's what we need to share with our youth, the passion to lead and be patriotic, but just being able to kind of clear the way for people to know how they can impact their communities. Yeah,
I totally agree with you because those of us who happen to be patriotic, we have that responsibility to do that, to encourage them. I like what you said about to step up, to play your part, to do something, anything other than nothing, to bring about the change you desire to see. We need to talk more. I think many people in our generation, we may feel that these young people may not listen to us. We experience some resistance for them. I would just say, well, let them just be. But no, we must keep on encouraging, keep on educating, keep on inspiring people through our lives, through our actions, and through mentorship, deliberate mentorship. Because many of them, they are being mentored, they are being influenced by these influencers who many of them just entertain. Some of them influence them maybe positively and not, or negatively sometimes. So we also have to be the new patriotic influencers that will share that hope, share that patriotic vision about the Nigeria. Because if you remember, we didn't just catch this fire phone about Nigeria to be patriotic. Some people told us to. Some people sold that vision. And we're like, wow, this is true. I remember my days in Unilag too. We had people who came to share visions. The Cllr showing us, the Fela Duotoye, the Niyade Sonya, the Samadi Emis, the Paul Adefasis. People came out and shared that vision, and we are leaving it out now. So we have that responsibility. And you, being a Nigerian diaspora, doing what you are doing, in various areas, is truly inspirational.
I love the fact that you remind us of how we used to have people come into the schools and talk to us. We used to have people come into guidance counseling sessions in high schools and secondary schools to really speak to the youth and inspire them. Whether it's inspiring them towards what they study in university or inspiring them to scale trades or inspiring them just to have a dream. I think we've forgotten how to inspire our youth, and our youth are more knowledgeable today than ever before. So we need to channel that energy and channel what they're seeing on social media into meaningful change. That's why for me in Canada, being a Black person and realizing how scarce that has been. In fact, in over 200 years here, they've never seen a Black leader in Southern Ontario. Wow. I feel the serious responsibility of making sure that legacy is positive. You've got to work 10 times as hard, but then I also created the Black Opportunity Network so that other Black people can join us in we're identifying and mentoring youth and women who want to also have the courage to run for office. And I think I opened it up as a Black Opportunity Network so that it's a global movement. I have people in the UK that joined us. We have a few people from Nigeria that joined us. We're talking about whether you have a nonprofit and you're head of a nonprofit, or you're starting something and you want to be in leadership, or you're just looking to run in the next election, or you want to lead at work. That network is for you. But in Nigeria, we truly need things that are more positive, not just an attack on government always, but things that focus on the solution. And I think that's where we need to go with anything we do in this day and age.
You said it well again, and through your networks, through your platform that you've created, and through various people amplifying this kind of message, I truly believe that there is hope for Nigeria and things will turn around. If there's anything you would like to share, I know you've shared a lot to the youth, a lot about business, a lot about life. Feel free to share. But if I may even ask, what tips will you give, being a very successful business owner in Canada and also in government now, what tips will you give to Nigerians in the diaspora who seek to step into business, also to step into governance?
Well, definitely stepping into business. I always say the resources are available for us when we come to setting up a business, whether it's starting, with a business plan. And we got the small business offices across the country through the federal government that allows small businesses to get that support. So I always say to new immigrants, seek that support so you get help to position yourself for success. And then in leadership, I always tell new immigrants, get involved right from your children's school. Get on the PTA boards, get on the library boards. Anytime you see a vacancy, it doesn't matter if you're a resident, new immigrant, get on those boards, because if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. Nobody's talking about you if you're not at the table. So to have that representation, now we have cases, like I get a lot of cases every day from new families. Their kids are in trouble, telling maybe a teacher, my father will kill me if I do this. And the next thing, child services are at that house wondering what is about to do, cultural nuances. So we teach people how to make sure that they are, being respectful to the culture. The system is different. So you have to integrate, make friends, get on those PTA boards, library boards, anytime you see an opportunity, take it, because it's volunteerism. So I always say volunteerism is what gets you places in Canada. And I think that's what I am very proud to tell the world and to tell my white folk about our NYC program. There's never a conversation that I have for someone who sits down in depth to want to have a conversation that I don't bring up NYC. I say my country is the only country that mandates that you volunteer for a year. And I tell you, even though there's a stipend, it is the fact that we have that program. And I say to them, every single person you see here who's come here is already someone who's given. They're used to giving. But when Nigerians come here, they think they're hitting the road just to get paid. So I say no. When you get here, you go into the system and you figure it out. When I came to Vancouver, the first thing I did, I had a 4-month-old when we came. I went to the city and I said, listen, I'm a newcomer. I just want to start a business, maybe a daycare, because I have a baby. But do you have any opportunities to volunteer? And they said, we're looking for somebody on the crisis line. And I didn't finish my master's in human services and mental health from the States. So I had a background in mental health. And I was like, that's amazing, because I would like to be in the space where it's mental health. So I went on to the crisis line. They needed somebody 4 hours every week. I offered to do that once a month. I said, can I do a 12-hour shift overnight so that I can plan it with my kids? And I did that for 1 full year. I was driving an hour to a crisis line center because of my experience from MTN, to listen on the phone with my little training in mental health, to people who are being raped, to people who are under drug influences, to people who are standing on bridges to want to commit suicide. And I'm here navigating the police, the fire brigade. I'm learning without being paid. But that today, when I speak on council, sometimes I bring my Vancouver experience, the data, the statistics. When we get reports from the commander of the police and I'm asking questions, again, they're looking at me. Sometimes I look at them, I say, no, this is because of the Vancouver experience. And then they say, because now I put credibility even in what I say. So even to the newcomer, I say, go volunteer in a place that fits your passion, because you never know what's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years, and that knowledge is what you use. So everywhere in the world, volunteerism is important, and I think Nigerians need to understand that. Even if you go to a new business that is struggling, whether it's in the market or in the Teju show anywhere, and say, listen, do you have a Facebook page? Let me volunteer and help you establish your business. Just do it so that it's a portfolio for you. Whether it's going into the local government and say, hey, let me help you guys figure out how to set up maybe a networking this thing. Ask for volunteer opportunities. And I think that is where we're missing the mark, because everything about us seems to be, we need to hit the ground running and make money and make money and make money. But life is also about learning. And I think that's one of the powerful messages I'm able to give our newcomers. And that translates into you being picked for office, or somebody even saying, I think you should run for office. Because when you sit at the table with them, they're the same people that will recommend you to do something. And then that network you automatically have, because they go back to their own white network and say, you know what, I think Jermaine is a really good person for this position, don't you think? And they'd be like, yeah, I think so. And before you know it, your name has spread through a network you had no clue, because you were at the table.
That's totally amazing.
And I think that's what's important.
Sometimes you have to give to receive. It's the principle of sowing and reaping. And you're totally right saying that most people don't see it that way. We are transactional in nature. It's based on the economic situation globally. People are looking for how to survive and looking for how to make money. But the reality now is that before you make money, making impact can ultimately translate to making money and living a wealthy, fulfilling life. And I believe that your advice is very, very sound, experiential, very informative. Thank you so much for sharing it with people. And I know our viewers will have been inspired to do more, to give back to the community. And ultimately, the community will find a way of giving back to you. When you sow, you ultimately reap. Thank you so much, Councillor, for joining us on this Let's Talk conversation. I really believe our viewers have been inspired. Can you tell us how we can reach out to you, people who want to connect with you on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn? What are your handles, please?
Yeah, my handles are at Khadijah Haliru. I'm on LinkedIn as Khadijah Haliru, and you can find me through even my businesses at Hanak Foods, at K-Body Blends. I have my skincare line too. So I just, I'm everywhere. On LinkedIn, I think
everywhere,
the best place to connect with me. But I also have a political page called Khadijah Haliru on Facebook and Instagram. So anywhere you type my name, I think I come up pretty good.
Yeah, you are everywhere. You are doing a lot of things, from skincare to culinary, food in a jar, to opportunities for Black people, to the business of leadership in Nigeria. You are doing a lot of things, and that is the Nigerian spirit, the diverse spirit, the impactful spirit. And now you are the councillor of the town of Ingersoll in Ontario, Canada, a diasporan that is showing forth the green, white, green color so proudly around the world. I thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you. And I'm sure we're going to see very, very soon in Canada, and share more great experiences at your conference.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Jermaine. Appreciate it. And all the best to everyone.
Thank you so much. Guys, ladies, you're out there. You've watched this inspiring interview with Councillor Khadijah Haliru, the town councillor of Ingersoll in Ontario, Canada. Inspirational personality, very insightful. I'm sure you've gotten a lot of nuggets. For those who want to emigrate, those who want to do business, people, you have it all there. You have it saved, and that's what we do on this Let's Talk with me, your host, Jermaine Sanwo-Olu. We bring influentials who bring information and inspiration to you, because we care about you. The diasporans have a lot to share, and also those in Lagos and Nigeria have a lot to share. So information is what we're presenting you with, and also I hope you get inspired by it. Make sure you visit my website, JermaineSanwo-Olu.com, for more inspiring and informative content like this. Follow me on all social media platforms at Jermaine Sanwo-Olu. And remember to visit my website, JermaineSanwo-Olu.com/Hope for Nigeria, whereby you can listen to my new song, Hope for Nigeria, and also watch some motivating videos that hopefully will pass that patriotic spirit to you, and also make you believe and see that there's something better that can come out of from us as Nigerians, and ultimately come out of Nigeria. So there's truly hope for Nigeria, and there's hope for you. Don't lose hope. Keep on believing that things are gonna change, and I believe that ultimately you will succeed. Until next time that we meet, keep believing in your dreams, because dreams do come true.